So welcome everybody. In my home office, actually from my home office, I'm starting this session, which is a session for those which are joining me for the first time. It's the session how to create brighter future for PhD students and postdocs. And the advantage of such sessions for those which are joining me first time, also overseas, because I'm coach, I would say Agile coach. I've done this introductions many times, but I'm Agile coach, which is particularly focused on brighter future, how to create brighter future, sustainable for PhD students and postdocs. Why? Because myself, I did PhD in life sciences, and I not always show my thesis, but I'm very proud of it, of this achievement. But of course, as I quickly realized, and maybe some of you too, PhD is not the final destination. It's starting point and might be considered as a starting point where we start to actually think how we can, in a way, create our future. Having PhD in your hand, this is a very big achievement, and I think for everybody who would think different, please contact me so we can actually elaborate more on it. So this is also quality time, which I always say to those which are joining me for the first time overseas, because I think the way we should think about our future is not just from one person perspective, but also bringing, exactly as I already mentioned, agile mindset, uh, thinking from different perspectives. And for me, this was very important to start and learn how to think from different perspectives, because first of all, I was, as a scientist, not only curiosity driven, but I very much enjoyed being international groups, getting to know my colleagues from very different countries, from very different cultures, for very different way or mindset. And this kind of enjoying conversations which I had with my colleagues, because I did PhD in Netherlands, but then I followed postdocs also in Belgium, and in different cities in Netherlands, but having also in Netherlands this very international groups where I perform research, gave me, in a way, ultimate experience, how to train my brain, uh, how to think from different perspectives. So in this case, I think mindset is the key as much as communication is the key. Agile mindset, thinking from different perspectives. And that's why these sessions are also about discussing brighter future, thinking from different perspectives. I think that's the most fascinating which we can bring. And the interactions which I had in my past, being in many international groups, so doing PhD in very international groups, but also 4 postdocs in very international groups, and then finally starting my own company and performing collaborative research, again, also with internationals, I think brought me to the state where I am now as a not just only biologist or scientist, entrepreneur, having my startup, but also slash agile coach. And being in industry already for more than 8 years in Leiden Bioscience Park, which is the biggest and the oldest business ecosystem or life sciences cluster in Netherlands, helped me to actually acquire additional knowledge as an insider about how it's to be in industry and how compared to academia. And that's very different, because that's really requires thinking in different ways, and being adaptable to many challenges, which not necessarily only happening in academia. But I think if I have to think about, after 8 years, how many challenges I have been go through in industry, that's definitely higher number than in academia. Even I had a lot of challenging animal-based experiments or experimental models which I worked with. So I think this is definitely something which I would like to tell you first. For those which would like to contact me, you can contact me by email or by LinkedIn or by chat. Ask me questions if you are interested in coaching, because I'm doing this coaching since I started my startup. And the coaching actually became organic process for those which are joining me for the first time. Um, my lesson was when I start to develop these collaborative projects between and inviting academia and industry to participate in academic industrial partnerships or consortia, I very quickly realized that I am not just there as a scientist entrepreneur having my startup, but I'm actually there as a coach. That's my important role, especially when you initiate such partnerships. So team behind great science, always there is a great team. And that's what I strongly believe. And that's why I first became Agile coach training teams. But then I very quickly realized that it's not just about team, it's about also individuals, team members. And a lot of colleagues ask me, can you actually, because we so much would like to make transition from academia to industry, could you please perhaps help us? And I discovered myself, but also my mentor actually, or collaborator, Jan Franken, which I had the pleasure to organize many workshops on team building and agile mindset, told me that you were very natural in coaching. I think so. I could say that I probably had very hidden potential to become coach in the end, and this gave me enormous satisfaction. So when people ask me what I would prefer if I would have to choose, so people which like to challenge me, which I also appreciate, yeah, I like as much as coaching teams, but also individuals and helping the PhD students and as a former academic to make this transition, because I know that this transition from academia to industry, it doesn't become a leap. I put it on LinkedIn, a post, a leap, but actually this is very big leap, and not just one, but broken by probably many pieces, which requires preparation. So that's something which I'd like to bring. And as I quickly also realized that having this passion for science, as much as I have it for science, I have it also for empowering others and helping PhD students and postdocs to make this transition, because this transition requires a lot of different, I would say, activities, um, a lot of different skills, but the communication, which I also discussed with great interview on my YouTube channel with Fame Lab, prestigious academic competition winner. The communication is the key to success, also here to success, to find a well-matched job. It's not just a job, a well-matched job. So that's what I also particularly focus here if it comes to this transition. And I also advise you actually to go back to my sessions, because I already talked for more than 20 times. So I realize how important it is to have this quality times, no matter if I'm doing it from Leiden Bioscience Park or I'm doing it from my home office. How important is to discuss all these different issues, because there is so many challenges. And at the first session, I said that it's important, of course, to discuss it in brighter, in a way, empowering way, inspiring way. And that's one of the parts of the sessions, but also talking about the challenges and issues. And we've been a lot, if you actually look at the university, one of the university newspapers, it's actually for those which are based in Netherlands, but I can also put link to it, Mare, which is academic newspaper. There is a lot of discussions what academia is currently going through. It's not just Netherlands, it's United States, changing of government. There is a lot of radical movements which are affecting academic funding, but also academic future or future of scientists at academia. And I think this future, it's not just changing now, because what I can tell you from my personal experience, which I think it's also important to share here, when I was starting my PhD, my vision for my future was that, well, I came from Poland. I got possibility to be chosen as one of the best students by studying biotechnology and spent some time and doing research in Netherlands. And then my colleague said, well, are you planning to go back? And I actually was thinking about going right away after finishing my master in biotechnology at University of Wrocław in Poland, southwest of Poland, for those which don't know so much about Poland. I wanted to join right away industry. That was my direction. But then when I was in Netherlands, I started to realize, well, I really enjoy doing science and asking difficult questions and having so much passion. I think brought me even further to the making decision that yes, I want to become academic scientist. I want to do great research, and then I end up in very competitive group working on stem cells, which I was looking actually, and that was quite a difficult project. I think one of the most difficult projects I would ever imagined. So I was put on deep water by my principal investigator, starting project which actually was not completely feasible if I would now come back. So this was very difficult project to perform. And of course, the ambitions were high, but in the end, you have to publish, right? You have to publish to develop this brighter future. So I had a really difficult time to publish things, especially when it comes to such difficult projects I was working on animal projects, on studying origin of hematic stem cells, starting from embryo to the adult, working both with embryos and with adult mice, and using for that also a genetic system to mark hematic stem cells at early stage. Which system biologically, the model which we had actually or were designed for this was not really efficient. So I've been, I just want to tell you how much challenges I've been already in academia, but this helped me to actually develop projects which are feasible, which having my startup develop projects which are feasible in industry, because in industry, what is so much different from academia, if we think about future and this transition, you will definitely, when you make this transition, you will definitely encounter projects which are mainly feasible, because industry doesn't have time for projects which are not feasible, which are not serving actually society, patients. And that's a really big difference between academia and industry. We do here mostly applied science, and I think that's why this transition is so tempting. And I mentioned political systems, political challenges nowadays, but it's been always, I think, a challenge to make this transition. But one thing which you need to develop is a mindset. And this mindset, which I would like to introduce here, it's not only refers to Agile, but also refers to, I would say, very short statements. They not just generating ideas how I'm going to do that, right? Thinking about the process, thinking about coaching and having me as a coach. This mindset clearly is a mindset of a person which is, I call it future winner, has mindset of winner, which is, and that's typical for, I think, also people which do a lot of sport. I do a lot of sport since many years, so that helps me also to keep this mindset active, to have this mindset active and present in every activity I am involved. This is also a consequence of a very active, very adaptable, proactive mindset, which I had, but I made it even stronger through the years. So the statement which I'm talking about is I want, I can, and the third, you probably may guess, I will. These are very important, I called it statements, which allows you to keep also in this transition, which requires multiple steps, having this very proactive, very active mindset. And of course, you should never forget about what are your core personal unique skills. And that's what I'm also doing as a coach, starting first session with identifying from unbiased in a way, by unbiased exercise, agile exercise, what are your core skills? Because this core skills, unique skills, which I believe that each of us is very unique, so having very unique set of skills will define this transition, will define dynamics of this transition, which define how quickly you will proceed with each of these steps and find a well-matched job in industry. Uh, and this mindset here, thinking in adaptable way, which I already told you, we discussing this future, focusing on this transition. Me as an agile coach, helping and empowering you already since several years in this transition, internationals. But we also should not forget having this mindset turn on when looking for a well-matched job. Of course, some of you would like to pursue this academic scientist career and become industrial scientist. That's quite straightforward choice. But you also should not neglect, I would say, keeping this wider perspective and being open to more than just academic or industrial scientist. Uh, and we will talk later about this transferable skills, because that's something which also is very important to identify. Identify your unique transferable skills. Beside, for example, communicating science, presenting science. This can really be more than project management and presenting. So transferable skills are important for industry. And that's why it's also important, beside these core skills, focusing on them. And I'm really happy that more and more people joining this session. So it's hopefully more of you is joining, so we can really also not just me talking about the future and talking about these options and in a way dissecting it, right? This transition, this process, but also involving you so that you can also ask questions, so that this session becomes interactive. Or what my actually American professor of entrepreneurship, which I had the pleasure to have interview with on my YouTube channel, said, make this environment conducive. So it's in class with students is much easier because you just point and ask questions, right? You start discussion. But here I also would like to not seeing you, not be able to seeing you, but start certain type of interaction by hearing your comments, hearing your questions, hearing your struggles. Each of us has very unique questions and very unique struggles and very unique situation we are in. And this is not just a professional situation, but it's also a private situation, which is also influencing our professional situation, also transition. For example, if you are mother already, right, and you did your PhD and you want to make transition, that's a very different position. So I think women which are already mothers have much more challenging situation when they want to make this transition from academia to industry. Could be also single fathers. I always want to say that I always think about this perspective of family perspective, because this also has plays a role in this transition. So we need to always be very careful when we think about this transition. We have to plan it. We cannot just make one jump, and that's why I think role of coaches is even more desirable to make such transitions. If we have already, if we are mothers or if we are fathers, and sometimes if we are single mothers or single fathers, right? So I think it's important to be very inclusive here, and I think that's what, for those who don't know me yet, because I'm very international, I've been always driven by international culture, but also having deep empathy to understanding many different angles of people's lives, but also people professional lives who have been affected by their their private life or location or country they are based. So-called also developing nations, scientists from developing nations. I think this is also something which I want to sometimes address when talking about this, how we should create this brighter future. And I use this we because I believe in collective, in the power of collective. By creating these sessions and performing and discussing all these different angles of these transitions and solutions, how to create this brighter future, I think about building this sessions and creating actually online community so that more scientists from all over the world can join the sessions. And by subscribing to my YouTube channel, we can also create more and more opportunities, because that's what actually is perhaps not really seen here, but that's the idea behind this also bright sessions, to reach as many people as possible and to address as a coach, as an agile coach, as many issues and as many challenges, and help you in this transition. So that's something which of course requires something which is not just about mindset, but it's also about trust in the process, but also trust which is already expressed by the statement, I want, I can, I will. Trust that things will turn right and fine. So this is something which I think it's important to remember. Another thing which I'd like to discuss is focus. As PhD students, we are finishing our PhD thesis. We not always have time to finish everything. And we are still like having in the back of my mind, oh yes, I need to find a job. I need to find a job. And I think this is side activity. And this is very stressful because here comes obviously time management. And prioritizing. And this is not easy. So because we have so many pressures from our supervisors, from our colleagues, we have to publish, we have to finish reports, we have to, if we have animal projects, we have to take care of animals, and so on and so on. So the list actually on academic plate is pretty big when we're finishing PhD, but also when we are postdocs. I encountered this also having postdocs, 4 postdocs that this contract usually are like 2-3 years, and it's really hardly any time to plan something, unless weekends are the only time which you can definitely plan in stepwise way how you can make this transition. So this is something which is important, and to support this, I would like to also here cite some fragments, short fragments from the book which I've been always inspired, written by Jeff Karp, actually Professor Jeff Karp from MIT and also affiliated with Harvard Med School, which is entrepreneur and scientist. And he wrote a book about basically life ignition tools, which he call it, how to energize your brain, spark ideas, and ignite action. And this energizing your brain, spark ideas, and ignite action, he talks a lot about this entrepreneurial science. But it's just more than this. This book also served me, inspired me as an agile coach to think about this transition and about this process. Because our brain is overall very, very, having already 48 years, and this I can also, I'm not afraid to actually say about that, gave me enormous wisdom. How my brain operates, actually mind. And usually, if we think about mind, not per se brain, because that's more in terms of anatomy, but our mind is very lazy overall. human beings usually are not really easy to take a challenge, uh, to actually cross non-comfort zone, and that's definitely unknown zone. It's a non-comfort. We don't know this zone so well. This is known. So to cross it, um, and I sometimes think about this industry as a jungle, because there are good and bad actors. There are people which can use you. They can people which are opportunistic, people which can take advantage. So not per se environment which is always very ethical. I think in academia, I think the work ethics is way more or less the same. In business, things can change, can be very drastic, very shocking. uh, of course, it's there are also, as I said, good actors, but also there are bad players, and you have to be very careful. But to making this, that's why you need the coach to make this transition, because with coach being in the industry like me already several years, you will never enter difficult or dangerous situation which can jeopardize your future. And that's something which I also want to say it here. So this non-comfort zone can be as much exciting, as much as challenging, as much as can jeopardize your future if you choose wrong. And that's something which I think this coaching process also is very important, because I also being in this ecosystem, knowing this ecosystem, help you to make right choice and choose good company. Uh, so that's something which I think I like to say about this process, because we should never think, and I can also say it from experience, because I've been used to be very naive person. I always believed in everybody's great intentions, and in business, actually, I found a lot of competitors which played in a way that I never would expect. So luckily, I can predict a lot of things. That's also part of emotional intelligence, but also that's part of experience I carry, and things I've seen in the past with other colleagues, and talking to other colleagues, I can predict certain things and stop having any consequences by organizations or people which would like to actually use me, or as a startup, take advantage. So this is something which I like to stress also here about. But coming back to the Jeff book, I like to, as I told you, read certain things. And what I like, I told you that our mind is usually very lazy, doesn't want to make changes. And we want to make this change, right? We see more opportunities in industry for creating brighter future. Um, but we don't know how to start, and sometimes we also have a trouble with focusing. And Jeff brings a very great statement. I already brought one statement which is important: where focus goes, energy flows. But another one is regarding this focus in this transition, which is also important also in the coaching. And I'm here as a coach also helping you in keeping this focus on. Is he brings a statement uh, where the statement is expressing focus like a laser, not a flashlight. So it's not just like a blink blink. I'm there, I have to be here, I have to be there. No, there is coaching, there is a path, there are steps, there are skills we train. there is toolkit, which I bring as a coach for you. Toolkit meaning sets of skills which you have been trained with me, and which will help you. Having this toolkit or toolbox helps you to find the well-matched job. So these are, I think, important things which Jeff talks about, but also for those which still don't feel, Aneta, but because sometimes I also hear what exactly this means, implementing agile mindset in my career, in creating brighter future for me. I think the Jeff is bringing this idea of pushing limits of perception, because each of us has limited perception, which is limited because of the experiences we've been through. We don't think usually that everything is possible, right? When people say everything is possible, when celebrities tell you on YouTube, sometimes people which became very successful, everything is possible. I think we have to step back and think what we went through, what kind of experience we have been through, where we come from. This is very important. Culture, and that's what I'm also discussing on YouTube. Culture bring our um, origin is very important. The way we think, we might be brought up in very restricted conservative system. For example, Poland underwent many transformations, including communist system, and I've been through many different systems, and I've seen how much still there is a limit, how much resistance still is in people to go further, to take this leap, to think different. And Jeff also talks about this resistance. But first of all, I'd like to say something about this mindset, agile mindset. What does it really mean? So, to push the limits of perception, I cite here Jeff, we need to constantly challenge and often disrupt dogmas, our personal dogmas, I would say, even stronger here. Other people assumptions, what other people went through, doesn't mean that you will experience the same. That also comes with transition. Each transition is different. Depending on individual, this will really be very different. So of course it's good to listen and take into account other people's experiences, but also never forget about I don't necessarily will go or experience it the same way, because I'm simply different person. I have different skills, and this shows a little bit something about agile mindset. Constantly challenge is one of the most, I think, the biggest challenges of our mind. Our mind doesn't want to be constantly challenged. And I think these patterns of behavior have to be shaken to make this transition successful. But here, as I said, I'm as a coach helping you to shake these patterns, to challenge this, but also in nurturing way. So not in a abrupt way, but in nurturing way. And the other thing which I'd like to bring is, of course, this focus is important. Focusing like a laser, not a flashlight. But also, this focus brings certain time requirement. And that's something which is important, to keep this time requirement as a priority, to prioritize. I need to have this time to focus, to work on this transition from academia to industry, because it's stepwise process. And I want to have a coach which will help me to help me to have this focus and to find this time, and to build, I call it momentum, so sets of activities that this want becomes will. From I want, I will. So that's I will put this book in the comments. You can order it easily through Amazon. So I strongly recommend this book to help you to energize your, perhaps not only brain, but your mind to make this steps in also for transition much more effective. Then, without enthusiasm, and I think I already hope I can share with you access of enthusiasm I always had. But this is deep down the enthusiasm which I had not just by having deep passion for doing science, but also enthusiasm to empower others, to help others. And this enthusiasm is very important also in this transition. Without, I think, positive thinking, you cannot go so far. So this will, I want, I can, I will. It's important to show some enthusiasm. Of course, without exaggerating, it depends on our personality, but to show enthusiasm. Because as an American philosopher, that's another person which I follow in terms of motivation quotes, is that nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And I think finding well-matched job is PhD is something great to do. It's without enthusiasm, this also would not be possible without my passion. But also in the process, being enthusiastic about learning new things, discovering yourself, being in this non-comfort zone, because that's also not already the starting transition is already a start of non-comfort. Being in non-comfort zone requires becoming more positive, have positive thinking attitude that things will turn fine. Because when you start right away with skepticism, with looking just for like here is not possible, there's not possible. I heard from colleague that I got a lot of she got a lot of rejections. Well, thinking this way will only put you backward. You will develop this I want, but I can't. Probably I can't because others can't. And I think this is what can become a roadblock. Negative thinking, negative experiences of others are their experiences. These are not your experiences. So this is something which I, of course, here with these negative experiences and competitivity. Actually, competitiveness, that's the word. It's very competitive to get well-matched job, but it's not impossible. It requires a lot of preparation, a lot of training, a lot of coaching, but it's not impossible. So it's something which I'd like to sensitize a lot of you. Don't look and focus, because that's another, we come with focus, which is put it wrong. There is no focus or focus which is where you pay attention to make successful transition. Perhaps is 30-40%, and 60% of focus is on news from other colleagues which have a negative experiences. So I want to shift this focus. I want to make sure that you focus on the process. You focus on looking for the job. You focus on identifying your core skills, which will help you to build this toolkit where you are a strong candidate and you will find your niche with your professional background. And that's, I think, something which I see many times. There are different focuses, and some of them take more energy than the others, or more attention, more time. And that's something which I also try to prevent you and steer this focus as a coach, so that you are really focused on making this transition, identifying your skills, pitching while networking. And this, in a moment, I will tell about a coaching scheme, my coaching scheme, how I develop this scheme, and how you can implement it in this transition. So let's see. And this will be short. I will not talk too long about this because we have 20 minutes of our session. So first of all, it's a CV. Many times in academia, I think CV has multiple pages, many pages. For industry, it's very important to treat CV as your business card, something which highlights what you've done, uh, which shows a recruiter that you have specific core skills, personal skills, but beside academic background or professional background, that you have publication record, that you participated in conferences, showing your scientific communication, awards. Many people are very modest. Some of them from my coaches were very modest, and we actually were digging and digging. I was asking more and more questions, and then there was suddenly, yeah, but I got this award. Oh, but I didn't know it's really necessary. Maybe it's not relevant. Well, awards are very, very important for industry. These are your personal achievements. This shows your uniqueness in some way, to some extent. If it's even if it's personal award or team award, this all matters. And that's why it's important to make sure that your CV is shining, it's unique, it's standing out, so that recruiters can very quickly identify you. This is your recognition, I would say, ticket to the well-matched job to industry. Once you have very great CV, you can print it out, you can put it next to diploma even of your PhD if you have it on the wall and you're very proud. This happens also to some people I know, which I really like too. You can put your CV, and that's where I think this focus starts. Never approach industry also. That's so some perhaps tip before having a well prepared CV. If you approach industry being unprepared, this only can bring negative recognition or negative impact. Second, we work during next step on motivation letters. And motivation letter is very important. Many people think that it's not, or some on BCF career event, which is the biggest fair event. Sometimes I heard voices where people say, well, it's just letter, nobody's reading it. Yes, people reading it, because on CV, there are mainly on one pager, because that's usually one pager which is widely accepted by industry. There are important things which are given there in bullets. So in short, basically content, short information content or short format. But motivation letter is the one which there is a space to share with industry your motivation, your interest in company, your unique skills, your what we call also business case or successful case, or your struggles and how you troubleshoot. We're troubleshooting. So this is a space which gives you a great platform to make yourself stronger than other candidate to be chosen for interview. The third is we go through list of companies, which is important because you should never apply blindly. I told you about this focused approach, and creating a list of your companies, top 10, top 20, top 30, is really important and help you to focus on this is the company I want to apply for, because their research resonates with what I've done in academia, and secondly, their work culture resonates with who I am. This is the best match: a work culture and professional background. So this is something which is a next step. Then, of course, are applications. I will continue. So to make it visible on the board, I will also continue after this. So fourth are job applications, right? Writing letters, having samples, now sending applications, and actively also analyzing what is happening with these applications, asking for feedback, and so on. Then the fifth is pitching. Based on letters, we can have coaching sessions focus on pitching. elevator pitching for job while networking, live sessions where I present as a coach. You are not alone there. I'm helping you, giving you tips. That's also very important, and I strongly recommend this particular sessions because they're eye opener. This is really truly learning by doing, by applying for job while networking. And then the six is interview. So these are interview simulations, and I mentioned that already many times that I've been trained by American scientists during my PhD, which graduated from Yale. Um, and I think I've seen from perspective of time the way she trained us. She trained us by asking us, challenging us with difficult, very difficult projects, not necessarily always feasible, but also asking difficult questions, training us. And this, I think, ability of asking difficult questions, um, critical thinking, helped me actually to proceed with science, to proceed with collaborations, to also proceed with coaching and developing new programs, and asking myself and challenging my mind, what I can do better as a also agile coach in this, in helping PhD students and postdocs in this transition, and being also in industry already for a very long time. So these are six, I would say, steps which are about my coaching. So if you are interested, please join my coaching. This is what's important here, I think, with this coaching is that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, that you follow my session, so you already have some ideas. But for those which would like to have some more personal questions, because they have perhaps what I also seen from experience, you all guys have very different personal situations you are in, but also you finishing your dynamics of finishing PhD, or if you are postdoc, is also very different. So I think the situations, their situations simply different, and depending on the coachee and also abilities of coachee, if you fast learners, if you need more time also to go through certain steps. This also depends on the person. I want to make sure that you have this toolkit, agile toolkit, well developed, so that you are actually assertive, and after perhaps many sessions with me, are and I talk about here at least 8-10 sessions. This is what I see from experience very important to proceed. Are very well prepared, right, with having this tool kit to find a well-matched job. And find actually is not perhaps find is not the correct word. I am challenging here my mind, but I think to lend, I think that's what Americans always use, to lend well-matched job is perhaps a better term, right? So this is something which I'd like to talk about. And now we come to the events. This is something which might be very useful for those which are listening to me now, because I'm going to now talk about this 11 minutes about events. There are a few which I'd like to mention. These are events which take place in Leiden Bioscience Park for Dutch-based PhD students, postdocs, or academics, but also in different cities. And these events, I try to also highlight events which are not only different places, but they have slightly different character or type. So that helps you also to expand numbers of opportunities, thinking about this transition from academia to industry. So the first event, and I'm going to also paste them in the comments, the first event, which is upcoming in Netherlands, it's a BCF event. This is free of charge event. That's important to say because some of the events are paid. BCF event, 28th of May. So I will put it perhaps here, 28th of May in Utrecht. Then the next event, which I'd like to mention, it's called ESP event. This time it will be 6th of June in Leiden Bioscience Park. This event, career event, will focus on especially those which are interested in a job in a pharmaceutical company. So that's also another the event which I recommend. So there is different audience and there is different target, in a way, niche. It's pharmaceutical. Then another event which I'd like to bring here. It's also happening in Leiden. It's a tech talk. It's event which is organized in Leiden Bioscience Park. As you can see, Leiden Bioscience Park has a lot of different nice events regarding potential job opportunities and transition from academia to industry. Participating in events makes you visible as a candidate, but you need to be prepared already very well. You have to have your CV ready. You have to know how to pitch. So if you're already ready, okay, I want to contact Aneta and start pitching, please do it as soon as possible, because you have to have all this you need to have all this main elements of the kit CV and knowing how to pitch ready and well developed. So TED Talk, where one of the participants or speakers is TNO. TNO is a Dutch organization for independent, actually, research organization in Netherlands, having many different locations, which focuses on applied sciences. And this is I think, very well-known organization. Netherlands has multiple offices, so I think this gives you, especially those which live in different places in Netherlands, a really good chance to actually increase your visibility as a candidate. So they will be the speaker there, and the tech talk will be 20th June. So I chose events which are at different dates. They are not too close, so you have enough time to get prepared. Then there is also event which I am particularly fan of as a scientist entrepreneur, which is very informal. It's organized by Cambridge Innovation Center, which is located in Rotterdam. So for those which are not from Leiden but from Rotterdam, this is a great place to participate in venture cafes. And I will also put link there, so you can come and participate in this very I would say interdisciplinary environment. It's vibrant. Cambridge Innovation Center represents and venture cafes events representing very vibrant innovation ecosystem in Rotterdam. This ecosystem is composing of 250 startups, investors, key stakeholders, academics, so mixture. And this is perfect place also to look for jobs in startups, not only in established pharmaceutical companies. If you like more agile environment, more adaptable environment, and challenge yourself even more. So this venture, I think this takes place in Rotterdam, 5th of June. So that's what I also like to share. And is there one other? Yes, there is one other which I'd like to mention, which is Combining Life Sciences Cafe in Leiden. And Holland Bio. And this takes place 15th of May. Holland Bio is an organization which is mission is to maximize the contribution of bio innovation to our society, and they organizing and so they gather a lot of industry. They have a platform which is composing mainly of industry. So that's why there is a lot of industry present there, from small companies to big ones. And this event I also very much, because of the presence of many biotech companies, recommend in Leiden. So this is something about the events. And I think if I take a look, or perhaps what I'd like to still bring, um, this events I mentioned Rotterdam, of course. I mentioned Leiden. Leiden, I think, is Leiden Bioscience Park. That's why I like to also be in Leiden Bioscience Park. Offers when I think about events and traveling through already 80 years to many different events. Perhaps Utrecht is the place, but I think Leiden Bioscience Park offers the most of the events, which are also free of charge, which is important, especially when you travel from outside of Leiden, but also offers the most interesting events, combining not only small companies, but also established industry, pharmaceutical companies. So I think this is quite nice, and having different formats like tech talk, like informal meetings, like life sciences cafes, but also Rotterdam Cambridge Innovation Center is an event which I strongly recommend, especially when you want to communicate science to non-biologists or non-experts, because that's also, as a candidate, you have to realize that when you're going to apply for the job, and you will enter stage already of interview, you might not only have biologists, which will decide to hire you or not, but also non-experts. So communication, or communicating what you have been doing, and what kind of candidate you are in short format is very challenging. But also participating in these events helps you to practice your pitch for job while networking. So I think that's what I'd like to say today, and inviting you to join my coaching program. As you can see, I really like these sessions. I think if I would not be busy with my primary activities, which is actually writing projects for academic industrial partnerships, so collaborative team driven projects, I would be doing more and more coaching, because I really love doing it. I really love empowering people, and I really love to also implement my agile coaching, but also my agile mindset. So having this challenging mind, or mindset, to help you in this transition, and to also support you, when you enter this, I would say, sometimes roadblocks during this process. So I try to make sure that these roadblocks become stepping stones. That's also part of my mission as an agile coach, helping scientists in making this transition successful, and landing not only finding, but landing well matched job. So if you have questions, I don't know, I'm checking if there are any questions. Please, this is also a time, but you can also think about questions and put it in the chat. So I will also could address that. And if this will be not during this time, it can be addressed also in next session. So please also write to me, so that we can really create this interactive session on creating brighter future, because remember that this brighter future belongs to us, and we creating this future. So this is something which you have to keep in mind too. So asking questions also helps to create this future brighter. So I'm looking forward to your questions. If you decide based on this session, yes, I would like to start coaching or have intake with Aneta, please contact me. I will put there my email for coaching, and you can contact me on LinkedIn, or that's, I think, the quickest, or by email. So with that, I would like to give you warm greetings. I hope you enjoyed this session a lot. I try to bring a lot of also my personal experiences, my personal views, but also experiences already from being coach for several years. So I hope these examples are helping you to understand this better, this transition, this process, and how much actually you need to already, it's not, as I said, leap, but how much actually preparation this requires. And this will always, I think, empower you. Having this kit, agile toolkit or toolbox, will always make you very empowered. That's what I've seen based on my coaches' experiences. So I think it's a eye opener coaching, I would say. And I think this session I really like because I can address so many different important things about this transition, which you have to pay attention to. Uh, as I said, I try to talk not about everything, but certain things I like to put attention on, just to make sure that you really well understand this, and making also sure that this is very useful, but also providing you links about career events in Netherlands. I think next session I will extend more to also career events outside of Leiden and outside of Netherlands. I'm in Leiden, so I have already habit talking about what is happening in Leiden as an insider, but also I will bring you some links about career events, also online career events outside of Netherlands. I think that can be also very important for global listeners or global PhD students and postdocs. So thank you very much. I'm sending you warm greetings. Take care, and don't hesitate. Please contact me if you don't know what to do and how to start. Please contact me as soon as possible. I'm very happy to help you. So see you next time, next month. And yes, keep working on your CV if you didn't start yet. So that's one of the, I think, the gold advice which I'd like to give as a last. Take care, bye, and see you next time.